with me. Fight with our friends!
Hello everybody, we're back again with yet another prediction video for Amazon Studios' Lord of the Ring, Rings of Power Season 2. For those of you who have watched our previous prediction video, you must have noticed that we were pretty spot on with our predictions regarding the events of Episode 4. So here we are yet again to put our gifts of foresight to the test and predict the possible outcome for the events in the upcoming Episode 5 of The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Since we're at the halfway point of the series now, with 4 out of the 8 episodes having aired already, things have yet to fully fall into place. We expect this to change with the upcoming episode next week as the show moves toward its second half. This current episode focused primarily on the Stranger and the Harfoots. Just as we'd predicted, the Stranger did meet Tom Bombadil, and the Dark Wizard turned out to be an Istar. The Harfoots also met their long-estranged cousins, the Stoors, which, to be completely fair, we didn't see coming. Our predictions regarding the Barrow Wight and Adar's march toward Eregion, along with the introduction of the 2 new characters, Canmere and Rian, came true as well. We also saw Arondir setting out on a journey after rescuing Theo from the Ents and Ent wives, who, as we predicted, made their appearance as well. This episode, however, totally skipped out on showing us anything regarding Celebrimbor, Sauron, and what was happening in Eregion regarding the forging of the rings. It also didn't show us anything regarding the dwarves or what happened to them after receiving the Ring of Dorin. Another major storyline that was missing from this episode was the state of affairs in Numenor. With Episode 4 giving us a fair bit of material to unpack and speculate on, join us as we put our tinfoil hats on once again and embark on yet another prediction video about what the upcoming Episode 5 holds in store for us. Let's not waste any more time and dive once again on a journey through the magical land of Middle-earth.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Things will finally come to a head in Numenor, as Phadazon will usurp Miriel and use the Palantir. Elendil will try to resist, but will be branded as a traitor. With the 4th episode totally ghosting the Numenorians and their state of affairs, we're certain that they'll make a return in Episode 5. The last episode in which they made their appearance showed us that the noble Belzegar, along with Elendil's daughter Erwin, had managed to sway the crowd in favor of Pharazôn and against Miriel during her coronation. The Palantir, which was in Miriel's possession, was used against her to falsely accuse her of being under the control of the elves. We believe that in the upcoming episode, Miriel will either be banished or forced to commit suicide. This is inferred from the shot from the trailer, where she's submerging herself slowly underwater with a forlorn expression on her face. It's also a guarantee that despite publicly denouncing the elven artifact that Miriel was using, Phadazon will no doubt have a look into that. From the shots in the trailer, we see that he seems to have successfully activated it. In it, we see a flame. This could either be the flames of Sauron or the flame imperishable, which is also known as the flames of creation, which Eru Ilúvatar, the progenitor god of Tolkien's works, has in his possession. We know this will begin Phadazon's rapid descent into corruption, because if it is Sauron that he sees through the Palantir, he'll probably be seduced by him and his promises of power. Or if it's the flame imperishable, he'll begin coveting it for himself. Either way, with Phadazon on the helm, the fall of Numenor will begin to inch closer. Elendil, who's set to play a major role in the events during this period of the Second Age, will likely have a fallout with his daughter, who's cast her lot in with Pharazôn. With his queen now banished, his daughter estranged, and his son Isildur, who he presumes to be dead, Elendil will most likely try to form a resistance group of the faithful Numenorians. He'll either do this, or having fallen into despair and with nothing left for him in Numenor, Elendil will sail to Middle-earth, where he'll discover that his son is still alive. The two will then try and form some sort of plan to take back Numenor from Pharazôn. In all likelihood, we'll see Elendil being branded as a traitor and losing his rank and position. It'll be interesting to see how the show handles the coronation of Pharazôn and his short reign, as it's one of the most important events with regard to the lore of the Lord of the Rings.
He deceived me. He's Sauron.
Forging of the remaining Rings of Power will commence, even as Myrddania will begin to witness her master Celebrimbor change due to Anatar's influence.
The remaining Rings of Power will be forged by Celebrimbor after the dwarves grant him the mithril required. However, as each ring is being forged, Celebrimbor will begin losing a little bit of himself along with the rings. We infer this from the knowledge that while forging the One Ring, Sauron poured his malice, evil, and much of his life force into it. Since the method of forging these rings is at a fundamental level, the same as they're all created through Sauron techniques, Celebrimbor unwittingly will have been pouring his own essence into the rings without realizing that with each one he crafts, he loses himself, ever so slightly. Miranda, his protege, will probably protest against this sudden change, but will most likely be killed by Anatar. In the trailers, we see Celebrimbor slowly falling into madness and despair as he begins questioning what Sauron had done to him. This is the episode in which we think that these scenes will finally play out. In the earlier episodes, we're shown that Celebrimbor doesn't deem men worthy of wielding any of the Rings of Power because he feels that they're easily corrupted. In the upcoming episode, Celebrimbor will most likely be convinced to forge the 9 rings for men. We feel that Celebrimbor will either attempt to destroy or conceal them from Sauron after he's crafted those rings, as his suspicion towards his mentor grows. In either case, things will be looking grim for the Elven Mastersmith and his city, with Adar closing in from the outside and Sauron from the inside. One thing for certain is that we'll not see the same celebrity we saw in episode 3.
Where is Sauron?
Adar will learn that he was being deceived by Halbrand, but will march on Eregion with an added motivation now of taking revenge on top of getting rid of the Dark Lord in disguise.
From what we've seen from the trailers so far, and knowing how the lore goes, the sacking of Eregion will take place no matter what. We can't say for sure that it'll happen in the next episode, but it is certain that Adar will continue his march to Elven City. In the last episode, we say that Galadriel was captured by Adar and his army. There's no way that he'll kill Galadriel because he seems to harbour some sort of respect for her. Also, she's far too valuable a prisoner to just murder outright. We think that Adar will question why their paths crossed, and as the two old foes catch up and converse, Galadriel will realise that Adar had been manipulated by Sauron all along. She'll definitely let him know that Halbrand was none other than Sauron himself. After realising how he was played for a fool and let his greatest enemy and threat to his people slip right by through his fingers, the Lord Father of Orcs will hasten his march towards Eregion to kill Halbrand, not knowing that by doing so, he's still dancing to Sauron's tune. Galadriel's fears of Eregion and Celebrimbor being in danger from within will be realised. She'll also cross paths with Arondir, who will rescue her. After being captured by Adar during his questioning, Galadriel will realise that there's a far more insidious threat within Eregion than what marches toward it. Desperate, she'll try to reason with Adar to let her go by telling him that he'd been manipulated by Sauron in the guise of Halbrand. Knowing her headstrong nature, 2 things will likely happen. She'll strike a bargain with Adar and pretend to join him in his quest to capture Halbrand, or Arondir, who we've seen out on a journey of his own, will turn up and rescue Galadriel from the Orcs. It's widely speculated that these 2 characters meeting is merely a matter of time, and it'd make sense narrative-wise for them to do so. Galadriel and Arondir will most likely move toward Lindon in search of Elrond and her remaining party members. Khazad-dum will be restored, thanks to the Ring of Power. However, all will not be as it seems. An ancient evil will begin awakening. They'll also have an unexpected visitor in the form of Elrond. With the dwarves having not made a single appearance in the last episode, they're another group that'll surely turn up in episode 5. With the ring in his possession, the third will use it to restore the glory of Khazad-dum. While everyone will rejoice at this, his son will remain skeptical of the power of the ring. Unlike the Elven rings, whose powers were untainted by Sauron directly, the Ring of Durin is poisoned by the evil of Sauron. This will result in whatever restoration that happens, thanks to the ring being hollow and deceptive, just like Sauron. This will be confirmed further when Disa and the Stone Singers, thinking that the mountain has been restored, will try and sing to it, but they get no response from it because the ring's power hasn't truly healed the mountain. One important thing to note is that by bringing a ring of power into Moria, they brought a thing tainted with the evil of the Dark Lord himself. This will undoubtedly attract evil to Moria, and we predict that the Balrog slumbering beneath the city will begin awakening in response to the ring's evil aura. The malice of Sauron within the ring will also work toward destroying the relationship between Durin III and his son. This will be because Durin IV will begin seeing certain changes in his father, along with getting news from Elrond that his friend knows no one called Anatar, thus confirming his suspicion that the rings are not exactly the boon that his father and wife think them to be. On the topic of Elrond arriving at Khazad-dum, we feel that the elf and his party, after witnessing the massive army marching toward Mordor, will realise that for them to reach Lindon for reinforcement will take too long. Thus Elrond will probably send Canmir as an emissary to Gil-galad to inform him of the situation, while he goes to Moria to meet his old friend Durin and ask for his aid, as Eregion and Khazad-dum are neighbouring realms. Once there, Elrond will probably see the glory of the Dwarven Kingdom even more enhanced and find out that it's all thanks to a Ring of Power. Elrond, as stated earlier, will get to know about Anatar and realise Sauron's true intent and seek to rally the dwarves to fight. It'll be interesting because we predict we'll see whether the dwarves will be able to provide the necessary reinforcement or they'll be too busy dealing with internal strife and the threat of the Balrog.
He is no man.
Marvelous verdict. As the tale of the Rings of Power continues, we'll witness both triumphs and tragedies unfold. With the upcoming 5th episode of the show, we'll cross the halfway mark for this story. We believe that the choice not to include the dwarves, Celebrimbor, Sauron, the Numenorians, and the Elves of Lindon in Episode 4 was a conscious choice. It is, therefore, our strong belief that these characters will play a major role in the upcoming 5th episode, and those who made an appearance in the 4th will most likely not make an appearance this time. Next week couldn't come sooner for us. We can't wait to sink our teeth into the new episode. Once again, we can't wait to see how many of our predictions and theories will come true this time around. If any of them do come true, well, you know where you heard it first. Right here at Marvelous Video. We also have a plethora of content related to Lord of the Rings on our channel. From character analysis to lore breakdowns, we have it all. So be sure to check it out after you're done here. We want you to know that we really do appreciate your support, and none of this would be possible without you, our dear viewers. Thank you for sticking with us once again, right to the end of the video. Whether the current season of Lord of the Rings Rings of Power will totally disappoint us or redeem itself, only time will tell. But what we do know is that you can always expect the best from us here at Marvelous Videos. For now, we have to say our farewell. Until next time, stay safe and stay marvelous.